is called yoga, and that is attaining the supreme self. Okay, so this is where we were. Now we are going into the next verse. The next verse says, Durena hyavaram karma buddhir yoga dhananjaya buddho sharanan anvicha kripana falahetava. This is very practical. Krishna says, why I am telling you to get rid of the this attachment towards the results of your action, because this has a reason for that. It has a spiritual reason. It's not moral, it's not ethical. It has got spiritual result. It has got implications in your life. It has got implications for your better life. If you can practice it, if you can bring it in your life, then you will see that your life is going to be better. Okay, not only spiritual life, not only spiritual accomplishment, but all your life, this practical life that we talk about, this day-to-day life, that also becomes blissful. Okay, so he says, Durena hyavaram karma buddhir yoga dhananjaya. It says that all the actions that we perform, these actions that we perform, they are the actual goal of life. The actual way how to perform this action is to remain attached with the self, with the knowledge. So this knowledge of the self, this knowledge of reality is very far, is far away, is beyond these day-to-day activities that we do. The day-to-day activities that we do is only to fulfill our needs, and while fulfilling our needs, we tend to get attached to all of them. But it says, this karma yoga that I'm talking to you, the karma yoga that I'm speaking, it is far from these karmas that you do. This karmas has nothing to do with karma yoga. The karma yoga, where you are, where you are associated with the knowledge, where you are associated with the knowledge, the karma yoga. This karma yoga is far from these karmas that we do. Okay, then it says, Buddho sharanan anvicha. The one who beholds the knowledge, the one who beholds the knowledge within him and works, the one who is always, who constantly beholds the knowledge within him, and he knows, who he is and what he is doing. He is using his knowledge to remain unattached from all these karmas. How can I remain unattached from the karmas? I have to use the knowledge, this eternal knowledge, the spiritual knowledge that is imparted to me. What is the spiritual knowledge? The spiritual knowledge says that you are the self, you are eternal, you are not the body, you are not the mind or the ego, you are not a human being. So all the problems I have in my life, everything, all the conditions that I have in my life is all situated around the fact that I am a human being. I have a name, I have a form, I have desires, I have aspirations, and these aspirations are not at par with the aspirations that has been imparted to us by the wise men. These aspirations are formulated by our own mind. My mind says that I need to attain this, my mind says that I need to attain that, and that is how we run after those. So these aspirations are not the real aspirations. They have come to us from our mind, and because they are produced by our mind, that is why they are not true at all. For a very successful life, for a very successful life, for a life where I have peace, I have stability, I have all my accomplishments, and I am at peace with all this accomplishment. I am in a complete stable position. I don't freak out. for that it is very much necessary that I contemplate the knowledge always within me. And if I do not do that, I will see that I am not doing a better job. My life is not becoming happy. I have situations where I become unhappy. So it is for my benefit that we all need a spiritual life. And that is why we say that spirituality is the essence of our life. It is an essential part of our life. Like education, like having a job. Spiritual knowledge is the essential part of our life, because they ensure happiness. They ensure our quality of life. They determine the quality of our life. How our life will be. What will be the quality of our life? What will be the quality of our thoughts? What will be the quality of our actions? If our actions do not have any quality, if they are degraded, then my destiny is also going to be unhappy. I am going to have unhappy destiny. So if I really aspire for a good future, then also spirituality is a must. I need to take care of my spiritual upbringing. I have to always depend on my spiritual upbringing. And that is why it says Buddho Sharanam Anvicha. A person who is with knowledge, the person who is a contemplative person, who has who always holds on the spiritual knowledge within him, and that is how he determines his life. That is how he goes forward with his life. A person who does this, he will always remain surrendered, humbled. He will not have pride. He will not have ego. He will not have pride. He will not have ego, and that is why he will have peace always within him. Buddho Sharanan Anvicha Kripana Falahetava. A person who does not hold this knowledge, who thinks that whatever he knows, whatever way he has been leading his life is the right way, was the right path. A person who thinks like this, that the way I have been through in this life till now, that is the right way to go, and I don't need to transform myself. I don't need to change. If this is the way I have been and this is the way I will be, for them what happens? Kripana, they forget the real purpose of their life. They miss this bus. They miss the purpose of their life. They do not get what life is all about, why they have come to this life. They miss it, and they cannot attain the purpose of their life. They cannot attain the goal of their life. Buddho Sharanan Anvicha Kripana Phala Hetava. If you hanker for the results of the actions, then you will lose focus of your life. You cannot at any point understand the real reason for why you have come to this life. You will not understand at all. The real reason of coming into being will be very, very far from you. It will be unknown from you. And if the reason of your life is unknown to you, then the accomplishments also will be very, very weak, very, very superficial, very, 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 very temporary, transient. Okay? And they will not serve any purpose in your life in the long run. So if you really want a blissful life, you need to depend on spiritual knowledge. And this knowledge is within you. You have been carrying on this knowledge since eternity within your heart. But this knowledge is covered. This knowledge is covered. Why? Because of your own recognition that you are the mind. because of your own perception that you are the intellect, you are the body, you are the ego. This is your perception. This is your perception that you are the body. This is your perception that you are this ego. You are the mind. The mind that comes, the mind that reveals itself with all its desires. While it reveals itself, though you say that this is my mind, but you get associated with that, you get attached with that, and you think that this is part of my existence, this is part of my being. And while doing this, you overlook what you are. The knowledge, the supreme knowledge that is there within you since eternity, it remains covered. It remains covered by this false perception that you are this. You are the body, you are the mind, you are the intellect, you are the ego. So when you come to the Guru, what does the Guru do? The Guru, tries to remove this false perception within your mind. He says, you are not the body. The first thing that he says, I know that I am the body. This is my body. I am this body. This is part of my being. This is part of my existence. If this body is not there, I also don't exist. This is what I perceive. But when I come to my Guru says, this body is not you. This body has nothing to do with you. You are not this body. Then who am I? If I am not the body, then who am I? Then I think, okay, if I am not the body, I am the mind, because this is, my mind is the one by which it determines my actions. The mind is the one which, when I disconnect from the body, when I close my eyes, and this inner world is revealed to me, and this inner world is called mind. So I am the mind. Guru says, no, you are not the mind also. You are not the mind. You are beyond this mind. You are beyond this mind. You are not the mind. Then, if I am not the mind, then I am the intellect. I am the intellect, because the intellect determines which work to do and which work not to do, which one to choose and which one not to choose. So I am the intellect. It says, no, you are not the intellect also. You are not the body. You are not the mind. You are not the intellect. Then, okay, then I might be the ego, because that is what I am. Because the ego says I, so I am that ego. It says, no, this ego is a false I. This is a false I. This will not stay. When the real I will reveal itself, this false I will not remain. This false I will go. Like we see the light of the moon in the night. In the night, we see the light of the moon, the moonlight. But when the sun arrives, then even there is moon, the light of the moon is not seen. Why? Because the light of the moon was actually the light of the sun. Because I have not seen the sun, I thought that, moon is luminous. Because I did not have the idea of the sun. So I thought that moon is luminous. But when I have seen the sun, I see there is only sun, that's all. Where is moon? The source of light is not moon, it is the sun. And whatever I call as moonlight is not moonlight, it is also the light of the sun. So whatever light you see in this world, whatever peace you see, whatever happiness you see, whatever bliss you see, whatever divinity you see, everything is that of the self, not these. These are only, they can only reflect the reality of the self. My mind, my ego, my intellect, my body, this world can only partially reflect the actual essence of the self. The self, the self, they cannot comprehend it, they cannot behold it. When the self comes out, when the self reveals itself, then we see that there is only the self. There is only the self. The only reality is the self. And I am that self too. I am also the self. I do not have a separate existence. I do not have I am not inferior. I am not inferior to the self or superior. I am the self. Okay? So it says, Buddho Sharanan Anvicha Kripana Falahetava. A person who is, who beholds the knowledge within his heart, he is always humble, he is always surrendered. Why? Because he knows that this whole world is moving on its own rhythm, on its own momentum, on its own laws. But I am not this world, I am not this nature, I don't move. I am the immovable. I am the immovable, impartial, infinite. I am the immovable, impartial, non-vibratory, eternal, ever existing, and omnipresent. I am the self, I am the consciousness, I am the knowledge. So because he knows this, he remains humble. He remains humble because there is nothing which he needs. There is nothing which he needs. Okay? Buddho Sharanan Anvicha Kripana Falahetava. A person who hankers for results, he remains, he remains covered from this knowledge. He remains separate from this knowledge. He forgets. He cannot get what the reality of life is. He cannot get what the goal of life is, and thus his life becomes unsuccessful. Okay, so how this duality can be removed? Very good, thank you very much, Devashish Babu. The duality can be removed only by the perception of the non-duality, of the non-dual. The duality exists because of the perception of duality. Because you think that you are the body, you think that you are the mind, you are the ego. It is not that somebody has imposed this upon you. It's like it's natural from your from eternity. You have been perceiving yourself with this body, with this mind. So you cannot separate yourself from the body, from the name, from the form that you have. You cannot separate yourself. So whenever you talk about your own existence, you also include this name, this form, this mind, this body, everything. So that is where duality comes. Duality means two. I am separate from reality. I am separate from reality. So what I have to do? I have to start perceiving the non-dual. I have to, that is why when we go to the Guru says, you are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not the intellect, you are not the ego. You are the self, the undivided self. You are the undivided self. Ekameva Dvitiyam. You are that Ekameva Dvitiyam. You are that one. You are that one. And while you listen to the Guru again and again, this perception cannot develop by studying scriptures. This perception cannot be developed by discussing with people, by reading. Nayanatma balahinena labhya na medhaya na bahuna shrutena. It's been very clearly mentioned in the Upanishads that without the power, without strength of going against what strength? It is going against this apparent reality. The apparent reality is this, that everything is dual. The apparent reality is that whatever I see is real. This is what is real. But you need to go get you need to just go into the opposite direction. You have to say, this is not real. You have to keep faith in the words of the Master. The Master says, whatever you see in front of you, this is the reality which has been brought to you by your senses. This reality is been brought to you by your mind. It is not reality. It is what the senses and the mind can perceive. This reality that you see is only the reality what your senses or the mind can perceive. They bring this reality to you, and you think that this is the reality. But the Guru says this is not reality. You need to keep faith on the words of the Guru, and you need to search for the for the reality which is beyond. And for that, you need strength, not of the body, but of the mind, but of the, the strength on your own perception. Because every time, every time you have this experience of this world, every time, and whenever you are having this experience of this world, you need to always, you need to always remember that these experiences are not real. There is a reality which is beyond all this. And if you keep on, seeking this, then you will move to this, to a place where Vedanta says that Akhanda Brahmakara Vritti. Akhanda Brahmakara Vritti means whenever I think about my thoughts, if you see your thoughts, you will see every thought is separate. Like we have studied in science, quantized. Like light particles are quantized. They come to us like quanta, like small particles, but they are all separate. Though it seems to be a continuous process, but it's not continuous. It's discontinuous. But the speed is so much that it appears to be continuous, but it's not continuous. It's all small packets which comes. In the same way, when you see your mind, you see mind is the cluster of thoughts. Your mind is the your mind is the summation of all your thoughts. Now if you see the thoughts, you will see every thought is different from one another. One thought comes, it goes, then again another thought comes, then it goes, then again another thought comes. So every thought has an origination, and it has got a destruction. Then there is a pause, and then again one thought comes out. So in this way the thoughts are coming. But because the speed is so much, because the speed of the thought is so much, that we think that these thoughts are all continuous. It's a continuous process. Every time we are in the state of thinking, we are involved in the state of thinking. Why? Because we fail to see the gap between these two thoughts. There is, we fail to see the gap. Now the Guru says, you see, you are not the thought. So when the duality is when the duality is diminished, when there is no duality, the reality comes out. The reality comes out. When you have this perception of, that is what I'm saying, Akhanda Brahmakara Vritti. When you will have this Akhanda Brahmakara Vritti, means you will have only one thought, and this thought will be pointed towards the self. This will be Akhanda, that is inseparable. This thought, that means every thought that we have, they are all separate. But while you perceive that one, that unity, you will have this one thought. You will have this unity, Akhanda. So when you will have this Akhanda Brahma, this one thought which is pointed towards the self, then you will see that you have realized the self. You have realized the self, and while you realize the self, you will see that the realization means the reality has revealed itself. The reality of your own existence, the reality of your own being, that has revealed itself. You know who you are. And when you know who you are, you see that these things that you used to know who you are does not exist. They have all eloped. You have established yourself into the state of non-duality. And that is the goal of spirituality. Spirituality means, Swabhava Adhatma Uchyate. When I know the reality of my own existence, that is called spirituality. Spirituality is a science by which I know my own existence. Okay, so when I know my own existence, that is when I see that there is no duality. I am that non-dual existence. Ekameva dvitiyam neha nanasti kinchana satyam jnanam anantam brahma. I am the truth, I am that knowledge, and I am that infinity. So you can realize it you can experience it. It's not only words. So, coming back to this place where it says that buddhi durena hyevaram karma buddhir yoga dhananjaya buddho sharanan anvicha kripana phala. If you seek only the results of your actions, then you will only remain very, very far from your goal of life. You will not understand, you will not realize, you will not know who you are. Your own identity will be unknown to you. You will remain as an unknown person to yourself. And if you remain unknown to yourself, you will never experience the divinity that you have, the divinity that you are. You will never experience this prosperity that you have within yourself. You will never experience this, and that is where you will miss your life. Your life will be missed, and that is why spirituality always inspires us. With spirituality, it always inspires us to go beyond this reality and see who you really are. Okay, so now this karma yoga, with karma yoga, Krishna is bringing out a new way. He's bringing out a new way by which we can perceive the reality, we can experience it, doing our day-to-day life, doing our day-to-day activities. Okay, now it says buddhir yukta jahatiha ubhe shukrite duskrite. When we perform our actions, it is not that we only perform good actions. It's not that. There are many actions which we unknowingly, unattentively and unconsciously do, which hurt people, which are not good karmas. So though we think that everything that we do, we are all doing good, we are all doing the proper thing, but actually there are many things which we do not know. And that is why while talking about karma, Krishna had given us a caution. What is that caution? He says that karmanneva hi bodhavyam cha vikarmana karmanne api bodhavyam bodhavyam cha vikarmana akarmanascha bodhavyam gahana karmano gati. Whenever we talk about this, the last part of this verses means that gahana karmano gati, that is all the actions, all the karmas, they lead us towards darkness. Is it true? Is it true that the actions leads us towards darkness? He says karmanne api bodhavyam. You need to know exactly what is karma. How what is karma? Because we all perform karma, knowingly or unknowingly, willingly or unwillingly, we are always engaged in karma. So Krishna says karmanne api bodhavyam. You need to know, you need to understand the reality of karma. What is karma? What is works? What is performance of work? Bodhavyam cha vikarmana. If works are for progress, if works are to do good to if karmas means doing good to myself, to progress, for growth, then there is another kind of karma which is called karma, that is bad karma. Bad karma. Do we do bad karma? Well, yes, we do bad karma. No, unknowingly. Whenever I am doing a karma, within this process, I also do many karmas which are not beneficial to me, which are not beneficial to the society, which are not beneficial for this nature. But I am not aware about that. But because I am attached to the doer, because I think that I am the doer, that is why I also have to face the consequences of these bikarmanas also. It says karmanne api bodhavyam bodhavyam cha vikarmana. You also need to know what is this anti-karma. What is this anti-karma? Because this anti-karma is always happening through you, unknowingly, unconsciously. So karmanye api bodhavyam cha vikarmana, akarmanascha bodhavyam. And you also need to know what is called inactivity. Akarmana means